neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Oh, could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for beauty. Would you be mine? Oh, could you be mine? 'Cause I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. While we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Could you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Won't you please? Won't you please? Please, won't you be my neighbor? Hello, neighbors. Good morning. It is time for another live Bible study. Absolutely. This is your opportunity to go through the book of Isaiah with me, and we can learn about how good God is together. So, for those of you who've never been here before, we are doing a Bible study. I am not Dinks the Puppet. I am his traveling companion. He does the videos, I do the lives. So it works out better for both of us. So, before we get started, and good morning to all of you, here is your colors. You get to vote on which color you want to start with. I've got green, blue, and purple. Take your pick. What would you like to start with today? Put your votes right there in the comments. I'm going to make some adjustments while you're voting. So don't get squeamish if I move your video feed. There we go. All right, I've got a purple vote, green vote, blue vote. Yeah, all three. Well, you know, it's okay if you can only stay for 30 minutes because these are going to be saved live both on Instagram and YouTube. So if you want to go back and finish it, you can once it's fully uploaded. Instagram uploads instantly, which is really actually amazing that Instagram is the best about that. YouTube usually takes about a day for it to upload and process, which is weird because you would think Instagram would be the inferior one, but nope, not when it comes to saving these lives. So tomorrow it'll be ready for you. All right, so it looks like that purple is going to win, followed by blue, then green. That's the order we're going to do. So for those of you just joining us, again, just a reminder, we are doing a Bible study. No, I'm not Dinks the Puppet, sorry, but I am his traveling companion. He does the videos, I do the lives, works out better for both of us. We're in Isaiah chapter 37, reading from the English Standard Version. You're welcome to follow along or grab your own Bible. Yeah, I am saving these, so they are completely free on YouTube and on Instagram. All right, so just a reminder of who Isaiah is, what's going on, just so you guys know what's going on. So let's see here. So this is a map of the divided kingdom of Israel. Normally I have it pulled up already, but that's okay. There we go. So Israel was all unified country up until after Solomon died. Once Solomon died, they split in two. So you have the northern kingdom of Israel, sometimes called Ephraim, and then the southern kingdom of Judah, which is named after the tribe of Judah because most of their land was in this area, and also named after the tribe of Judah because they were loyal to the house of David, which was from the tribe of Judah. So couple reasons why. Now, Isaiah is writing over the course of 4 kings, and he's writing from Jerusalem. So when he starts, northern kingdom of Israel is still there, but then after that first king, it's gone. Whoosh, gone, because the Assyrians, not Syrians, the Assyrians, they came in and conquered Israel. They swept away all their people to foreign lands. Now, literally not everyone, because people from different tribes could live in different areas. So people from every tribe were probably in Judah and vice versa. There were probably people from Judah that were taken away from the tribe. So but the point is that all that's left is this little dinky place right here called Judah. Now, all of this can fit within the state of Illinois. If you're familiar with your geography, it's not very big at all. So all that's left is this tiny tiny thing right here, probably about the size of New Jersey. Okay, so it's not very big at all. And so he's constantly writing to them, and we have this cycle of, hey, remember what happened to them? God's got to cleanse the land. God has great plans for you, but he's got to cleanse the land of wickedness, and it's this cycle. Sometimes he talks about it on a local scale. Sometimes he talks about it on an international scale. So that's where we are here. Now we're in a portion of scripture that is a narrative. That's why it looks like a full paragraph. If you go back a couple chapters, you'll see that this is the normal format you see right here. This is Hebrew poetry. Hebrew poetry doesn't rhyme by sound, it rhymes by concept. So it'll say the same thing similarly, and you can always tell it when you see it because of how it's laid out in verse. But then you get to 36 where we ended last time. And so just a reminder, Sennacherib, he's the king of Assyria. He sent his general to come and tell the people to give up. Nobody's gods have saved them, and your God's not going to save you. Don't listen to Hezekiah. Don't trust in Egypt. I'm going to take you. Best for you just to surrender now. You don't have to die. Yes, you're going to be taken away from this land, but you don't have to die. That's kind of the message there. And so now we get to Hezekiah. Starting in verse 1. As soon as King Hezekiah heard it, okay, that was the message from the general, he tore his clothes and covered himself with sackcloth and went into the house of the I Am. So just remember, anytime you see a capital Lord, all capitals, or even a capital God for God, it is a replacement for Yahweh. Okay, that comes from Jewish tradition, where even in the time of Jesus, when they would read and come across the name Elohim, they would say Adonai instead, which means Lord. So they're not hiding God's name from you, otherwise they wouldn't have, distinguish it. They're showing you this is where God's name is in the original text, okay? And so the reason why they would tear their clothes and put on sackcloth is just a really rough cloth, think of maybe kind of like burlap. So this is how they would show that they are distressed. Woe is me. We're in a bad situation. I want everyone to know it. And he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, and Shebna, the secretary, and the senior priests, covered with sackcloth, to the prophet Isaiah, son of Amos, who is the same Isaiah that's writing this. They said to him, "Thus says Hezekiah, this is a day of distress, of rebuke, and of disgrace. Children have come to the point of birth, and there is no strength to bring them forth." So he might be speaking metaphorically. I don't know that necessarily that like all children being born that day, that the women were just too distressed to push. But his point is still well made, that right now there's no effort or desire to do anything. It may be that the I Am your God will hear the words of Rabshakeh. Now that's the general from Sennacherib, whom his master, the king of Assyria, has sent to mock the living God, and will rebuke the words that the I Am your God has heard. Therefore lift up your prayer for that remnant that is left. Now, what's interesting about Hezekiah, even though he's held in high regard, look at how he refers to God. He doesn't say our God. He doesn't even say my God. He says your God, referring to Isaiah. Now, in our culture, that would indicate there's a separation, okay? And like, oh, that's your God, not my God. But in Hebrew, that doesn't necessarily mean that. It can. But what is also a possible way of distinguishing it is understanding Isaiah's unique relationship with God, saying that he is your God, as in you belong to him. We understand you have that connection. So it could also just be a point of honor. When the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, Isaiah said to them, "Say to your master, thus says the I Am, do not be afraid because of the words you have heard, with which the young men of the king of Assyria have reviled me. Behold, I will put a spirit in him, so that he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will make him fall by the sword in his own land." So God's saying, don't worry. He's not going to accomplish. Sorry about that. He's not going to accomplish his tasks. He's going to hear a reason to return home, and he's going to end up being killed at his own house. That's what's going to happen. Which tells us that the king of Assyria didn't just send a general. He went there himself, but he sent the general up to Jerusalem to give the message. But Sennacherib is somewhere in the area. All right. So the Rabshakeh returned and found the king of Assyria fighting against Libnah, for he had heard that the king had left Lachish. Now the king heard concerning Tirhakah, king of Cush, which is modern-day Ethiopia. He has set out to fight against you. And when he heard it, he sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, Thus shall you speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah. Do not let your God in whom you trust deceive you by promising that Jerusalem will not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Behold, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all lands, devoting them to destruction. And shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them, the nations that my fathers destroyed, Gozan, Haran, Rezeph, and the people of Eden who were in Telasar? Where is the king of Hamath, the king of Arpad, the king of the city of Servaiphem, the king of Hena, the king of Iva? So he's saying, look all around you. I've defeated everyone else. I know you think that I'm going to be distracted here, but you're still going to lose. Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of the I-Am and spread it before the I-Am. So he goes into the throne room. All right, so not the throne room, but the temple. Let me show you diagram of Jewish temple. Let's do Solomon's temple. Yeah, there we go. See if I can get a centered view of this. That's not bad. Okay, so this is a diagram of the Jewish temple, which, by the way, this does come from the ESV Study Bible. There are these kind of diagrams in there, so I highly recommend you get one. Yes. But so when he goes to the house of the Lord, he cannot go into this area. This area is known as the Holy of Holies. Okay. By priest allowance, he could go into the holy place, not the Holy of Holies, just the holy place, which is where they do some of the ministering. So it is possible that he went into this first area and just laid out the message from Sennacherib and just, sprawled it out on the ground and cried out to God. Okay, very possible. However, going into the temple of the Lord could still be outside of the building itself because the whole entire complex was part of the temple. So he could have literally stayed outside as well. So not 100% sure whether or not they would have let him in there, but it is a possibility. And given the destruction that was happening, I doubt they would have argued too much. All right, so, and Hezekiah prayed to the I-Am, O I-Am of hosts, God of Israel, enthroned above the cherubim, you are the God, you alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made the heavens and the earth. Incline your ear, O I-Am, and hear. Open your eyes, O I-Am, and see and hear all the words of Sennacherib, which he has sent to them to mock the living God. Truly, O I-Am, the kings of Assyria have laid waste to all the nations and their lands, and have cast their gods into the fire. For they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. So let me stop there for a second. And therefore they were destroyed. So people will often say, doesn't God recognize that there are other gods from an earthly perspective? And here is the point. He's talking about how the gods of their neighboring kingdoms were cast into the fire, for they were no gods, but the work of men's hands. So when God talks about other gods, he's talking about it from the human perspective, false gods, okay? So if I had cardboard cutouts of a certain person, and then I had the real person there, and the guy's name was Jeff, I'd say, which of these Jeffs is real? So I acknowledged them all as Jeffs, but only one was real. Okay? That's how God talks about other gods. He literally says, there are no other gods but me. He literally says that in Isaiah. So, and I think we already went over that verse. So just understand there are no other gods. There's only demons role playing as gods. Okay? So now, O I am our God, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone are the I am. All right? Whew, that was a lot. So, whoops, didn't mean to do that. So before I get into Sennacherib's fall and more poetic passages, any questions on what we've talked about so far in Isaiah? Specifically Isaiah, guys. I know some of you have burning questions, but that's not what we're doing here. No questions? All right. They're still trying to pretend there are other gods. People do it all the time. Yeah. See, which of the four kings is Hezekiah? I believe Hezekiah is the third. Hold on. Let me find out for certain. Four kings during Isaiah was Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz. Hezekiah's the last. Okay, my bad. He's the last of the kings. Isaiah is in Jerusalem, talking to the kingdom of Judah. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to the passage. Again, I'm only taking questions that refer to what we're talking about here, guys, because this is a Bible study. I do question and answer drive times if you ever want to be a part of that. They do happen randomly, or you can ask questions in the comment section of my videos, and I answer as many as I can. All right. So, Sennacherib's fall. Then Isaiah, the son of Amoz, sent to Hezekiah, saying, Thus says the I am, the God of Israel, because you have prayed to me concerning Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word the I am has spoken concerning him. She despises you, she scorns you, the virgin daughter of Zion. She wags her head behind you, the daughter of Jerusalem. Whom have you mocked and reviled? So he's talking specifically to Sennacherib, saying, hey, look, Jerusalem's wagging its head at you. Who have you reviled? Who are you mocking, king of Assyria? Against whom have you raised your voice and lifted your eyes to the heights? Against the Holy One of Israel. So God is saying, when you challenged Jerusalem, you challenged me. Okay, you're not challenging just a bunch of people in a rundown city. You're challenging the God of the universe. By your servants you have mocked the Lord, and you have said, with my many chariots I have gone up the heights of the mountains to the far recesses of Lebanon to cut down its tallest cedars, its choice cypresses, to come into to its remotest height, its most fruitful forest. I dug wells and drank waters, and to dry up with the sole of my foot all the streams of Egypt. So he came in very prideful, assuming he was just going to conquer all the lands. Here's God's response to that. Have you not heard that I determined it long ago? I planned from days of old what now I bring to pass. God is completely sovereign. Everything that happens in history is because he either wants it or allows it. That you should make fortified cities crash into heaps of ruins, while their inhabitants, shorn of strength, are dismayed and confounded, and have become like plants of the field, and like tender grass, like grass on the housetops, blighted before it is grown. I know you're sitting down, and you're going out and coming in, and you're raging against me. He said, I know everything you do. I watch it all. I see it all. Because you have raged against me, and your complacency has come to my ears, I will put my hook in your nose and my bit in your mouth, and I will turn you back on the way by which you came. So if you imagine, you know how sometimes like cows will have that ring in their nose. That is meant to lead them. You grab them by that ring and lead them somewhere. That's exactly what he's going to do with the king of Assyria.
So if people have the nose ring like that, then they're more prone to be pulled back to Jesus.
Well, if only. I think it is very fitting that liberals do tend to have nose rings to kind of show that they are being pulled.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
Not all nose rings. So we have other gods or demigods, but are demons. Yeah, so if there are any gods that God refers to are either just plain old fake idols or they're role played by demons. That's about it. But the demons were terrified at just, seeing Jesus. So it's not like it's a competition. Hello, Joanna. Good to see you. All right. No, I will say the nose ring theory is not always true. Common, but not always true. There are Christian women who have the nose rings that are perfectly fine people, okay? But it is a common thing, just like the big round rim glasses are a common thing with liberal women. It's just their culture. They kind of only stay in their little bubble. So there are things that tend to be common. Yeah, of course, generalizing, right. The Virgin Daughter of Zion. So the Virgin Daughter of Zion is the people who live in Jerusalem. Zion is a reference to the area around the temple within Jerusalem. So hold on, let's see if I can get this map of Zion within Jerusalem. Ancient. Let's see if that tells us here. I think that does. That's not a very good map, but it works. Okay. So you have all of Jerusalem here, and you've got the temple up here, the palace up here. So this is the Zion area. Mount Zion is down here. This whole thing is the Zion region of the greater Jerusalem. It's a terrible map, but it gives you the idea. So a lot of times this happens in Hebrew poetry where they will reference either that or the capital. So like if I wanted to talk about northern kingdom of Israel, I could say Ephraim, which is how they refer to them in shorthand, or you could call them Samaria because that was the capital of Israel. And so sometimes it'll say, I am disheartened by Ephraim, my heart is broken by Samaria. Again, that Hebrew poetry that rhymes. So when it names a capital, it can also represent the entire thing. So the same thing when it comes to Zion. So the people who are of Zion, of the temple, okay, the virgin daughters are the ones that are faithful to the temple, faithful to the God of Israel, okay? And so he's saying, you came up against my people, not necessarily the wicked ones that were serving other idols, but there were still people who were loyal to their God. And so he's saying, those who are of me, that's who you've come up against.
You get lucky. I'm done already.
Woohoo. All right, so let's see here. Now, this one is going to be... now, some of you might have heard this story, so he's going to give him a sign here. So, and this shall be a sign for you. This year you shall eat what grows itself, and in the second year what springs from that. Then in the third year sow and reap and plant vineyards and eat their fruit. And the surviving remnant of the house of Judah shall take root downward and bear their fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go a remnant, out of Mount Zion a band of survivors. The zeal of the I am of hosts will do this. So he's saying, I'm going to give you a little more time. Okay, the sign that I'm going to do this is the fact that you are going to plant, you are going to reap, you're going to have a few more years. Therefore, thus says the I am concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into the city, or shoot an arrow there, or come before it with a shield, or cast up a siege mount against it. By the way he came, by the same he shall return, and he shall not come into the city, declares the I am. For I will defend this city to save it for my own sake and for the sake of my servant David. Now, obviously David's long since dead, but God made a promise to David that his descendant would sit on the throne of Israel, that he would, that his blessing would not depart the house of David, okay? That his throne would be established forever. There are lots of promises. So because King Hezekiah is a descendant of David, then he humbled himself before the Lord, he's going to keep his promise to David by taking care of Hezekiah.
I'm sorry. This is the quieter way to get it. Every Saturday morning, I get ice. Okay?
Yeah, and that's not a political statement. All right.
Oh.
And the angel of the, let's stop there. Oh my goodness, we're about to get into it. All right, how many of you have heard of the angel of the Lord? Okay? Not just an angel, the angel of the Lord. Just like say I have, or put your hand in the comments. Or do you know where I'm going with this? I want to see which of you know. Oh, best mama knows.
So did I.
Yep.
How awesome was that?
Okay. Yep. Julian's got it. Ben's got it. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I'll tell you, Luke. All right. So, anytime you see the angel of the Lord, almost always in the Old Testament, this is God himself. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that God is an angel. Angel just simply means what? What does angel mean, guys? Tell me in the comments. What does angel mean? Means messenger. Very good. Yes, just means messenger. So if I read God's letter to you, that means at that moment I'm technically an angel. So it's not a problem for God to be his own messenger. So an angel is not a species. There are species of angel like cherubim and cherubim, okay? But the angel just means messenger. So this guy is the very guy who spoke from the burning bush. Yes, go back and read that account. It's Exodus chapter 3, I think. It literally says, the angel of the Lord called out to Moses from the burning bush, and then he speaks as if he's God. So it is almost unanimously agreed that this is Jesus himself before he took on flesh, God the Son. Why? Because Jesus literally tells us no one has seen God at any time, but he's the one that makes him known. So that means any physical form manifestation of God was always Jesus himself in the Old Testament. And I have an entire Bible study on that. Let me see if I can pull it up for you here. Just so you guys, if you're interested in that, see if I can find it here. Go to lives. This is the YouTube lives. And I believe, let's see here, search for angel, let's try here, of the Lord. See if it comes up. I've got videos on it, and we'll see, there it is, Bible study, angel of the Lord. Oh, almost a year ago, 11 months ago, but there it is right there, completely free. On YouTube, it is 2 hours and 46 minutes and 10 seconds long. Yes, but that's because I take you through every Old Testament passage and show you comprehensively how this specific character is Jesus himself, okay? So if you're interested, it's available. So let's go see what Jesus did for his people. And the angel of the I am went out and struck down 185,000 in the camp of the Assyrians. And when people arose early in the morning, behold, these were all dead bodies. Then Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and returned home and lived at Nineveh. And as he was worshiping in the house of Nisroch, his god, Adramelech and Sharezer, his sons, struck him down with the sword, and after they escaped into the land of Ararat, Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his place. So, literally, God himself manifests in the middle of the night, kills 185,000 Assyrian soldiers. That would be very demoralizing to an army. You suddenly wake up and most of your army's gone. So yes, he just went home in shame. Sennacherib did.
In Sennacherib's back.
And so if you want evidence of this, all right, let's see. I got to spell Sennacherib right. It's not Snackrib. I always want to say that. So Sennacherib.
He ain't McDonald's.
No, he's not. Prism. There we go. So Sennacherib's prism is how the Assyrians wrote down their history. It's much more sturdy and durable than a tablet. And so there actually is, he has several of them, but one of them actually does mention his siege against Hezekiah, but it doesn't have an ending to it. That's kind of where it stops. I wonder why. So, history always eventually catches up with the Bible. Any questions on this chapter, chapter 37? I hate that sound.
We say that all the time. Look at my thumb.
Looks better.
I know. I am about to put some liquid Band-Aid on it.
A snippet of what Jesus' return looks like? Well, maybe one day, but today, right now. Yeah, it's also known as the Taylor Prism, yes, because Taylor's the one that found it. Well, hello, Warcars. Good to see you.
Open this Band-Aid pack because
Oh, sorry. My wife needs help, so you get to watch. Hold on.
both of my thumbs are broken.
Watch me open this Band-Aid. It's so
I'm
amazing.
definitely crippled.
Yeah.
I hurt this thumb by opening or trying to dig out hard ice cream. And
Let's see. Was it also Jesus that also said, "Let us make man in our own image"? I heard since I was a child, the Father. Other times I heard they said it together. Jesus is literally the one who spoke and said, "Let there be light. Let us make man in our own image." All of that stuff, because John, if you go to the Gospel of John, it literally says that he's the one that created everything, and Paul also confirms that in Romans that not anything was made without him. All things are by him, through him, and to him, as Paul puts it. So it is literally Jesus. That's why he's called the Word who spoke, the Word that creates. So it is literally Jesus.
can you take the pop socket off?
You are so needy.
I'm waiting for
Let go of the phone. I can't do it.
I'm
without
waiting
it.
for the liquid bandage to dry.
I don't know how your pop socket comes off.
No, the whole thing. No, peel off the whole thing.
Oh, magnet. I didn't realize.
Wow.
I don't know. Some of them are those twisty things. I don't know.
I take it off constantly.
Oh, good for you. All right. Anyway, next chapter.
What chapter are you in?
38 now. All right.
Oh, see, you weren't at 40 something.
It's close. All right.
Wow.
Well, Summer, I answered your question before you asked. There you go. All right. So, for those of you just joining us, I'm trying to do a Bible study. I'm not Dinks' puppet. I'm not Dinks the puppet. I'm not his puppet either.
You kind of are.
I am his traveling companion. He does the videos, I do the lives. It works out better for both of us. We're in Isaiah chapter 38, reading from the English Standard Version. You're welcome to follow along or grab your own Bible. All right, so in those days, Hezekiah became sick and was at the point of death. So here's the next chapter. We don't know what kind of time jump this is, but the enemy's defeated. Probably a bunch of mundane years happened after that, and God did say, hey, you're going to at least have 3 years, because he talked about them enjoying the produce of their vine, which takes about 3 years to do. So it's at least 3 years when this happens. And Isaiah the prophet, son of Amos, came to him and said to him, thus says the I am, Set your house in order, for you shall die, you shall not recover. Then Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the I Am and said, Please, O I Am, remember how I have walked before you in faithfulness and with a whole heart, and have done what is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Now, I want you to understand that Hezekiah's faith here is actually very weak. This is not a good faith. This is a kind of a mediocre faith. Why do you think that is? Tell me in the comments, why do you think this is not a good faith? Yeah, he finally does live up to his name. That's right. Hezekiah means Yahweh is my strength. Very good.
36.
He's arguing with him? No, not so much arguing. Think about his priorities in this moment. Wars cars. You are on it, man. Look at that. He said, because he was sad about losing his life. Yes, that's the thing. He is focused on this life. He's not eager to go be with his God. He's not eager to just allow God to do what he wants to do. So he's weeping bitterly, like, I don't want to die. I want to keep living. And look, that is a natural reaction for people who don't have a longing to be with their God. Okay? It's not saying that he isn't saved. If you feel that way, it's not saying you're not saved. It just means you haven't developed a strong relationship with God. I want nothing more than to be with him. When that time comes, I'm not going to argue, you know?
Oh, I keep getting frozen. Are other people getting frozen?
No, it's catching up. I just literally did that. Wave, wave. And then wave, wave. See? All right. Then the word of the I Am came to Isaiah. Go and say to Hezekiah, thus says the I Am, the God of David your father, I have heard your prayer. I have seen your tears. Behold, I will add 15 years to your life. So God is absolutely a God of compassion. He's not saying, well, my way, the highway, and he absolutely could without being immoral at all. God can do that because he is the arbiter of all life. But out of compassion, he's like, okay, all right, I'll give you 15 more years. I will deliver you and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria and will defend this city. This shall be a sign to you from the I Am, that the I Am will do this thing that he has promised. Behold, I will make the shadow cast by the declining sun on the dial of Ahaz turn back 10 steps. So the sun turned back the dial, the 10 steps which it had declined. So,
How much is a step?
well, so I don't know. Thanks for asking questions no one else asked. So let's see if I can find an image. So image of Hezekiah's sundial, at least something similar, so you can get an idea here. So it's, yeah, okay, this is more accurate right here. So this is what we're used to when we say sundial. You are very loud over there.
I can't
Just
change
seeing
the
that.
page. My thumbs. And it's stuck together.
Well, stop cutting
Got it.
yourself. All right. But this is actually more what the sundial would have looked like that they used. So these little indicators is basically from sun up to sundown. Okay. So the steps would have been different amounts of time at different points of the year.
What verse was that? In
Chapter 38.
38?
Yes.
Aw.
You all that effort to open your page, all that loudness.
It's coming again. Sorry.
That's what happens when you have a new Bible.
Yeah. What verse?
Oh my goodness. You are needier than the people in the comments. Jeez. Let's see. It's
I see
7 and
it,
8.
7.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was looking at what the study guide actually says
Yeah.
about it.
So this is what the shadow would have moved within this basin. That's the idea here, okay? And so the question people have is, did God move the sun? Did God move the earth? He didn't have to. All he had to do is bend light. That's the thing. You don't have to account for a missing day.
Oh, because I was about to be like, if the light went missing, like if he cut it back or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
we still have never made up for the loss.
But we don't
because
have to.
You can't make up for the loss.
Yeah, something interesting about astrophysics is that we know that gravitational forces can bend light. Light can literally go around things. We can actually see that effect with telescopes. And you can see light bending with your own eyes. Have you ever looked at a hot road and you notice how it shimmers along the road, what you're looking at? Well, that's literally light bending because of the heat. So we know light can bend. And so that's all God has to do. You don't have to account for any missing time at all. So the sun turned back. There you go.
No.
All right. So any questions on that?
Hezekiah. Alright, we're about to find out how much 10 steps is worth. It's 10 degrees. So 60 minutes.
Approximately, but it would change depending on the time of the year.
Right.
So it's about 10 hours worth of time, but during the summer, obviously, it would be longer because they're north of the equator.
Yeah, so it would have been about 40 to 60 minutes.
Okay, that's the variation then. Yeah, okay.
Hey, look at that. Now I know the answer to something because I was curious.
Yep, good job.
I've watched your live. Oh no, I haven't. Never mind. No, the Super Sir has watched your live for 100 minutes.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. All right.
It just posted it,
Oh.
and it made it. I thought it was me. Oh, he's getting up. It's not me that's causing this delay. It's not me who's bending the time back, or the sundial. Are you dying?
Yeah.
Your extension cord's over there.
Oh, yeah, I forget there's already a cord over there.
Oops.
It's such a rush to get started this way.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, just plugging in my computer that's about to die. There we go.
I like to ask a lot of questions that need research to make him like work for it.
All right, so let's pick up where we were.
Hi, Summer. Sorry.
All right, so verse 9, a writing of Hezekiah, king of Judah, after he had been sick and recovered from his sickness. So this is Hezekiah's poem in response to what God did for him. I said, in the middle of my days, I must depart. I am consigned to the gates of Sheol. Now remember, Sheol is the realm of the dead, also known as Hades. In modern times, we call it hell. So keep in mind, and I'm going to have to bring up this
Is that Instagram?
YouTube.
Oh. I definitely go on YouTube.
See here.
Sorry, guys.
Diagram of Sheol. I'm going to bring up my favorite picture that I always use.
Because we even had a question about it last night.
Yeah.
So.
This is the one I always use because I just like how it's laid out. So this is kind of the idea for Sheol. Now, it doesn't necessarily be like literally under the earth, okay? There's conversation to be had with that, but let's just focus on this right here. So Sheol is the realm of the dead, Hades or hell, okay? So there's an area where the unrighteous are waiting for judgment. You can read about this in Luke chapter 16, by the way. And so you have the unrighteous, they're in torment, they're waiting for judgment day. You can read about Hades or Sheol, the end of it, where everyone is emptied out, everyone is judged. That happens in Revelation 20, I think. And then on the other side, before Jesus rose from the dead, you had the righteous waiting for Jesus to release them. And that area was known as Abraham's bosom or Abraham's side, depending on your translation. Well, we are told that he went down to set the captives free, to lead out a host of prisoners, as Hebrews puts it. So he literally brought all these people out. And as Paul says now, he says twice, by the way, that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 confirms that, because it says when Christ returns, he will send with him, God will send with him all those who've already died. So we know they are with the Lord. So the only people down in Sheol now are the unrighteous unrighteous, awaiting judgment. Okay, so when in the Old Testament, when they talk about going down to Sheol or Hades or what we call hell, they're not concerned about being in the torturous side. They just know that's where the dead are stored at that time. Okay.
Let's address the fact that God is not changing his mind.
What do you mean?
Like, that he's contradicting himself by changing his mind, by saying that he's going to do one thing and then turn around and do something else.
I don't understand what thing did he say he was going to do?
Well,
Like God already knew what he was going to do?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And that's the thing is God's not surprised. Sometimes God will do things based on our decisions, but remember, God is outside time. He already knows what decisions we're going to make. He already knows the things we're going to say. So even though he treats us as if he was listening and like, oh, okay, sure, I'll do that, he still knew the entire time. So God's not surprised or his mind changes based off of what Hezekiah did. He already knew what Hezekiah would do. But he gave Hezekiah a prompting. So let's go back up and I'll show you that. So look at this. So Hezekiah was sick, and the word of the Lord comes to him. This was the prompting for him to show faith. Now, his prompting was to weep bitterly and cry out to God, but it was still an opportunity for him to show faith. His faith was lacking because he wasn't willing to go, but it was still there because he did trust that God could save him. So there still was faith there. I don't want to be too harsh on him. So God gave him the prompt, he did show faith, and God answered. It's no different than when Jesus tested Philip by asking him, how are we going to feed all these people? Now, Philip failed that test because he's like, oh, well, even with, 100 years' wages, we couldn't feed all these people, And so it's like, dude, no, I'm going to feed them all magically, miraculously. So that's kind of what happens with God. He will give you the opportunity to show your faith. All right. So I said, in the middle of my days, I must depart. I am consigned to the gates of Sheol for the rest of my years. I said, I shall not see the I am in the land of the living. I shall look no more on man among the inhabitants of the world. My dwelling is plucked up and removed from me like a shepherd's tent. Like a weaver, I have rolled up my life. He cuts me off from the loom. From day to night, you bring me to an end. I calmed myself until morning. Like a lion, he breaks all my bones. From day to night, you bring me to an end. So he resigned himself for the fact he was going to die. Did that, and when it talks about that he shall not see the I am, even at this point, they knew that God's eventual plan was to be with his people. So he's never actually literally seen God. He's like, I guess that won't happen for me. He was very aware of Old Testament prophecies. Like a swallow or a crane, I chirp. Okay, crane as in the bird. I moan like a dove, which we would say coo. We called it coo. He called it a moan. My eyes are weary with looking upward. Oh, Lord, I am oppressed. Be my pledge of safety. What shall I say? For he has spoken to me, and he himself has done it. I walk slowly all my years because of the bitterness of my soul. Now remember, this is in response to God saying, I'll give you 15 more years. What Hezekiah is doing is building the story in his song. So this is not how he feels now. He's just acknowledging how he felt before the word was given. O Lord, by these things men live, and in all these is the life of my spirit. Oh, restore me to health and make me live. He probably said something very similarly when he turned towards the wall and cried. Behold, it was for my welfare that I had great bitterness, but in love you have delivered my life from the pit of destruction, for you have cast all my sins behind your back. For Sheol does not thank you, death does not praise you, those who go down to the pit do not hope for your faithfulness. So he's saying God gave him more opportunity to thank him, to praise him, okay, to hope for his faithfulness. Now that he's still alive, he can still do those things. And this is another point here too. Once you're dead, time is up, guys. Those who go down to the pit do not hope for your faithfulness. Nobody gets saved after death because there's no faith. Once you're down there, it's knowledge. God wants you to choose him based on faith. You can only do that in the land of the living.
And Hezekiah had that renewed faith
Yep. Gave him the prompt, and it turned into 15 years of faith.
at that time.
Yep.
Yes.
The living, he thanks you, as I do this day. The Father makes known to the children your faithfulness. So he's even promising, I'm going to tell all my kids about what you did. The I Am will save me, and we will play music on stringed instruments all the days of our lives, and at the house of the I Am. Now Isaiah had said, let them take a cake of figs and apply it to the boil that he may recover. Hezekiah also said, what is the sign that I shall go up to the house of the I Am? So I'm not sure why the chapter breaks off there at the end of a question. We'll look that up in a second. But any questions on chapter 38?
Is this Israel or Judah?
Judah. Israel's already gone at this point.
Okay.
Let's see here. Why do you say I am instead of Lord? Yeah, I'll remind you. So anytime you see a capital Lord for Lord, or sometimes it's G-O-D, capital G-O-D, that is a replacement for Yahweh, or I am that I am, the name of God that he gives from the burning bush. Okay, that's the name he gave to Moses. And so the writers are doing exactly what they did orally back in Jesus's time when they would read scripture aloud and they came to the name Elohim, they would say Adonai, which literally means Lord. So they're designating it for you so you can see that the name of God is there, but they're showing this respect by not overusing his name. Let's see. Thank you for your help, Wars Car. I appreciate it.
Max, does your question have anything to do in relation to this chapter? Because if it's not, then we will need to address that later
Which one are you on?
in Instagram.
Okay. I'll go take a look. But how is God able to say something that isn't true? Does that make sense? Because God is truthfully saying what was said. That's the thing. God is not lying. God is accurately saying, this is my plan. And then he intentionally knows he's going to change his plan. If Hezekiah had not wept bitterly and called out to God, he would have died. He would have kept his word. All God is doing is changing his plan, not changing his mind. He knew he would change his plan, but it was still his plan. So it's not God lying, it's just God making a plan. That's all it is. God's timelessness makes it a bit wonky, but it's still understandable even from our perspective. Hopefully that helps.
Adonai means my Lord and my Master.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the next chapter. Ooh, that's a short chapter. Look at that. All right. So, for those of you joining us, we are doing a Bible study. I'm not Dinks the Puppet. I am his traveling companion. He does the videos. I do the lives. Works out better for both of us. We're in Isaiah chapter 39, reading from the English Standard Version. You're welcome to follow along or grab your own Bible. Here we go. Envoys from Babylon. Okay, now, Babylon is the power that took out Assyria. Well, let's make that clear. So, let's see here. Ancient map of Babylon during...
Do you think they ever shut up?
They just babbled on and on and on.
Exactly.
I gotta be more specific.
I mean,
Under Nebuchadnezzar. There we go.
much.
Yeah, you talk too much, you worry me to death. All right, so let's see here. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. We'll do this one. Oh, that's a tiny little thing. There we go. I'll just slide that over. All right, so Babylon eventually, not at this moment, but eventually encompasses all this region. See, there we go. Okay. So, I mean, it looks kind of like a blizzard blowing through, but this is all like desert, so they didn't really care about that. But this is all the fertile areas where civilization was. Now, just to give you some ideas of where things are. So Jerusalem's over here. Kingdom of Judah is just a little blip on their scope, okay? All the way over here is Ur. Who came out of Ur? You guys remember? Just spelled U-R. You have to think all the way back to Genesis, but who came from Ur? Part of Babylon is Iraq, yes. Also Iran. Abraham, yes, correct. So Abraham probably would have traveled along the river, and then his father Terah establishes a city up here, names it after his dead son, and then Abraham continues on his way, and then sojourns, or travels, sojourn's an older word, between Egypt and Canaanite, this whole area here. Now, Judah, again, just a little tiny blip right here. You had Assyrian Empire, which was right here and but right up next, because here's Assyria up here. Assyria's capital is Nineveh. So they had this whole region right here. But then Babylon, specifically the Chaldeans, okay, this is the region of Chaldea over here, they conquered Nineveh and took all of their lands. So Babylon becomes the new threat to Jerusalem and Judah, okay?
You're like upside down. We're seeing it all weird. See?
Okay. So the there's a line of empires that Daniel talks about, and Daniel's over here in Babylon, by the way, when Daniel writes his stuff. So he talks about Babylon being conquered by the Medo-Persians. Okay, the Medes, their area is kind of up here, and they end up conquering, and so it becomes the Medo-Persian Empire. Then they get conquered by Greece, which comes from this way under Alexander the Great. Yes, that guy that you know of. Yes, that he literally conquers them. And then Alexander's kingdom gets split into 4 kingdoms and then gets conquered by Rome. So, and then you have the time of Jesus. So you have empire conquering empire conquering empire. And so Babylon is the next threat to Jerusalem. However, it will not happen in Isaiah's time. Jeremiah actually is the one who writes the most about what happens with Babylon conquering Jerusalem. But also way over here, you see this little tiny town over here called Susa. Who's from Susa? Who knows?
That's actually one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm. Esther is correct. Good job. So, the story of Esther happens way over here, okay? And because Babylon was the capital during the time of Esther, but he had a summer palace in Susa, and that's where her story takes place, okay?
Ooh, I wonder how long it took them to travel
That far?
from, like, Susa to...
This distance right here would probably be about from Indianapolis to St. Louis.
To what? Your little... There we go.
From Babylon to Susa
Okay.
is about the distance from Indianapolis to St. Louis.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was thinking that would probably be like from Susa to Jerusalem.
Well, no, because all this area right here fits within the state of Illinois right here.
Oh, okay.
So basically crossing a little bit more than just Illinois, you get to Babylon.
So Babylon's on the other side of Illinois?
That's right. Babylon is over there in Missouri.
Oh.
Sorry, Missouri.
And you got to ride those roads.
That's right. That's right. All right. And that's okay if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, but, geography, whatever you are familiar with, just, kind of figure out what 1,000 miles is and, figure out how far is 1,000 miles from where you live, and then look at 1,000 miles on those ancient maps, and you'll get an idea of that type of stuff.
Okay.
1,000 miles, 100 miles, whatever the case
1,000
is.
miles is from here to Florida.
That's true. I'm just saying perspective.
Oh, okay.
Just gives them
I was like,
perspective.
Illinois is not that wide.
I use Illinois just because it doesn't fit in Indiana, but it does fit in Illinois. All right.
What? Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeesh. All right. So now we're dealing with Babylon because Assyria is no longer an issue. At that time, Merodach Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent envoys with letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he heard that he had been sick and had recovered. And Hezekiah welcomed them gladly, and he showed them his treasure house, the silver, the gold, the spices, the precious oil, his whole army, all that was found in his storehouses. So what's happening here is an exhibition of pride. Look at all this great stuff I have. I just want to show it off to everyone, okay? There was nothing in his house or in all his realm that Hezekiah did not show them. Then Hezekiah the prophet came to King Hezekiah, Isaiah the prophet came to King Hezekiah and said to him, "What did these men say, and where did they come? Where did they come to you? From where? Sorry." Hezekiah said, "They have come from a far country, from Babylon." He said, "What have they seen in your house?" Hezekiah answered, "They have seen all that is in my house. There is nothing in my storehouses that I did not show them." I think you guys can understand this is a problem. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, "Hear the word of the I Am of hosts. Behold, the days are coming when all that is in your house and that which your fathers have stored up to this day shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says the I Am. And some of your own sons, whom will come from you, whom you will father, shall be taken away." Now, not in his lifetime. A son in the biblical sense is any descendant. So he's saying some of your descendants will even be taken away. This gets fulfilled by the sons of Mattaniah, also known as Jehoiakim, during the time of Jeremiah.
They can't see.
Ah! Sorry, I forgot to move back.
Also, that means it has to be like his blood descendant, or can his sons be like from his tribe or whatever?
Specifically, blood descendants.
Okay.
Yep. And some of your own sons shall be taken away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. This is something that was commonly done in the ancient world, where if they conquered an enemy, they would take their children, make them eunuchs so that they couldn't procreate, and then make them servants in the palace. So it was a way of showing them off as trophies. Look at these people I conquered, but yet still not as bad as just making them a common slave. Okay? Then Hezekiah said to Isaiah, "The word of the I Am that you have spoken is good," for he thought, "There will be peace and security in my days." So Isaiah is like, "Yeah, I'm okay with that," because it's going to happen after me, you know? It's kind of like the whole idea of yeah, I'll just be reckless now because my kids will have to deal with it later. You know, kind of a selfish motivation there. All right. Sorry that was kind of missing there on the screen, but any questions on chapter 39? Why did Hezekiah show them all that? Because he was prideful. It's kind of like a guy that has a man cave, and then some stranger shows up and says, "Hey, dude, I saw you carrying this arcade. Do you have stuff like that in your house?" And he's like, "Yeah, come, let me show you." And then he takes him and shows him everything in his house because he's proud of what he has. Think of it that way. And then that guy later comes and robs his house. That's exactly what's going on here. Is he is showing Babylon everything worth stealing because he's prideful. He feels like he's invincible. God protected me. God gave me extra 15 years. I'm wealthy. I want everyone to know it. It's very much a pride thing.
Hezekiah is the one that says it.
Yeah. How did you go about learning all this? I watch a lot of videos and read a lot of books of people who are smarter than me, and that's the truth of it.
And lots of sermons. And
Yep.
things like that.
I have a brain that catalogs and remembers little factoids, And so I try to share them with you. Okay, any other questions? Never count your money in front of strangers. Well, there's a song about that. Never count your money at the table.
What?
Know when to hold 'em.
Oh.
You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. You don't remember that line in the
I
song?
don't remember that line.
Oh, wow, that's sad. I'm going to have to sing the whole song now.
Oh, my goodness. No, you don't.
Not right now. I'll sing it to you later when you're annoyed.
They are quiet today. Like, Instagram is pretty quiet.
Get rowdy, Instagram. Come on. What's your problem?
They're waiting for the after party to get rowdy. No,
All right. So let's go ahead and go to chapter 40. All right, and for those of you just joining me, we are doing a Bible study. I'm not Dinks the Puppet. I am his traveling companion. He does the videos, I do the lives. Works out better for both of us. We're in Isaiah chapter 40, reading from the English Standard Version. You're welcome to follow along or grab your own Bible. Here we go. Now, we're back into Hebrew poetry. Again, Hebrew poetry rhymes, but not by sound, but by concept. So if it says something similarly twice in a row, that's just how their poetry worked, okay? So, comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and cry to her that her welfare is ended. Okay, so welfare, we have a footnote A, so it's going to be translated another way. Hardship. Ooh, interesting. So welfare or hardship. Those are two very contrary terms.
But typically, like in American terms, if somebody's on welfare, they are experiencing hardship.
Oh, dependency. It kind of be the idea there. Okay.
Yes.
So the welfare here is a dependency. I see how it could go either way for that. Because, again, Hebrew poetry rhymes by concept. Here's the similar line. Her iniquity is pardoned. So, not even welfare. What's that word right there? I read it wrong. That's on me.
Warfare.
Warfare. That's
wasn't even looking
oh
at it.
my goodness. I'm sure somebody. Oh, they did catch it. Look at that. Everybody's shouting warfare at me in the comments.
Oh, why? Like only one person on Instagram said it.
Woo,
so-
that's hilarious. I love it. Okay, sorry. Thank you for catching that. That means some people are looking at their
I was
screens.
looking at the study notes. I wasn't even looking at the past.
Okay, so warfare or hardship, that makes a lot more sense, is ended, that her iniquity is pardoned. Okay, so again, Hebrew poetry rhymes, but I don't always read words correctly. All right. That she has received from the I Am's hand double for all her sins. A voice cries, in the wilderness, prepare the way of the I Am, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Now, who is this a prophecy of? Matthew quotes that passage. Who's he talking about when he says that?
Oh, I know.
Thank you, Saruki, for making me feel better. Yes. John the Baptist. That's absolutely correct. Good job. So, this is, and many times the Bible does do that. The writers of the New Testament will grab passages that we wouldn't even normally take nowadays and say, "Oh, that applies to John." We might say, "Oh, that does sound kind of like them," but we aren't so bold because we're not literally writing for God to say that. There are other passages that we feel like could be referring to, like Jesus as an example, but it's never quoted as specifically referring to him, so we don't say that confidently.
Well, they needed those quotes because they needed to be taken seriously. Like the writers in the New Testament needed to be taken seriously by the people that knew their Jewish heritage and the prophets and such.
Yep. Now, the reason why only this portion, though, is quoted for John the Baptist and not this portion is because he didn't fulfill this portion here. This is yet to happen. Watch this. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain, and the glory of the I Am shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. All flesh shall see the Lord's glory together, for the mouth of the I Am has spoken. So, the way of Jesus was prepared by John the Baptist, and Jesus will do this when he returns. Let me show you. Okay. See if I can find that Bible passage. Hold on. Bible passage. I think it's Revelation. People looking for mountains. And where is that passage at? Revelation 6:15 through 17 is the fall on us, but that's not it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, 16:20. So let's go there. So the seventh bowl drops. Okay, here's the interesting thing, and this is why I do not believe in a pre-trib rapture. Well, that's a longer conversation. But anyway, this is right before the Lord returns, Jesus himself. The seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air. A loud voice came out of the temple from the throne saying, "It is done," which, by the way, he said from the cross also. And there were flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a great earthquake, such as there had never been since a man was on the earth. So great was the earthquake. The great city, okay, that's a reference to Jerusalem, was split into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And God remembered Babylon the Great to make her drain the cup of the wine of the fury of his wrath, and every island fled away, and no mountains were to be found. And great hailstones, about 100 pounds each, fell from heaven on people, and they cursed God for the plague of the hail, because the plague was so severe. So when Christ returns, he's literally going to level the planet. Now, we can get into a lot longer conversation about the ecology of the earth prior to the flood, but the reason why all the mountains were easily covered is because the mountains weren't nearly as high, and you also had water coming down from the sky and up from the ground. Water was everywhere. So it's not that literally the whole world was like flooded up above Mount Everest. It's just that Mount Everest wasn't there. Okay, keep that in mind. That's why there are clams on the top of Mount Everest, but we'll talk about that another time. But he's literally going to level the whole earth when he returns. A voice says, "Cry." And I said, "What shall I cry? All flesh is grass, all its beauty is like the flower of the field. The grass withers, the flower fades. When the breath of the I Am blows on it, surely the people are grass. The grass withers, the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever." So this almost sounds like Ecclesiastes until you get to that last line. Like, we're just all a bunch of grass. We're just going to die as soon as he blows the life out of us, you know?
Oh, no.
But it's an understanding of the truth of humanity. It is only God that is forever. That's why you need to cling to God. Go on up to a high mountain, O Zion, herald of good news. Lift up your voice with strength, O Jerusalem, herald of good news. Lift it up, fear not. Say to the cities of Judah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord I Am comes with might, and his arm rules for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense before him. He will tend his flock like a shepherd, and he will gather the lambs in his arms, and he will carry them in his bosom, and gently lead those that are with young. So right here again is another reference to the return of Christ. He's going to gather us up. That's what we call the rapture, but it's part of his return. It's not a secret disappearance like you've been taught. Okay? He's literally coming back to be with us. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and marked off the heavens with a span, and enclosed the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance? It's a metaphorical question, or not metaphorical, what's the word? Rhetorical question. Obviously, the answer is only God can measure these things. God is the one who alone can accomplish some things that he's about to talk about. Who has measured the spirit of the I Am, or what man shows him counsel? No one, obviously. Nobody. God is limitless. No one can give God counsel. Whom did he consult, and who made him understand? Who taught him the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? All rhetorical questions. Behold, the nations are like a drop from a bucket and are accounted as dust on the scales. You are nothing compared to the magnificence and infinite nature of God himself. Behold, he takes up the coastlands like fine dust. Lebanon would not suffice for fuel, nor are its beasts enough for a burnt offering. All the nations are as nothing before him. They are counted by him as less than nothing and emptiness. Just think about the entire vastness of the universe itself. Not only just our galaxy, but you have millions and billions even of galaxies out there that God created. This hugely magnificent being that is infinite in all capacity. What are we compared to him? Think about that. To whom will you, then will you liken God? Or what likeness compare with him? An idol? A craftsman crafts it, and a goldsmith overlays it with gold and casts it for silver chains. He who is too impoverished for an offering chooses wood that will not rot. He seeks out a skillful craftsman to set up an idol that will not move. So he's like, you really think an idol compares to an infinite God? Really? Guys, come on, wake up. Do you know? Do you not hear? Has it not been told to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the earth? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth.
Aww, that means it can't be flat. Wait, maybe it's a flat circle.
That's what they try to say. It's a flat circle. So what you have to understand about the circle here is it cannot mean a disc. That's a separate word. What he's referring to is the horizon. Everything from his perspective. So he who sits above the entirety of the earth. That's literally what that means. So it's not saying the earth is flat. It's not even saying it's a sphere. It's just saying the entirety of, okay? So we're not going to get into flat earth. That's a longer conversation. And maybe one day I'll do a Bible study where we completely debunk the idea that the Bible teaches a flat earth. That'll be fun, but not today. And its inhabitants are like grasshoppers who stretches out the heavens like a curtain. Now that's fun. We can actually prove that the universe itself has elasticity to it. That's why they believe that they can accomplish things like warp drive, like where you grab and compress reality itself in order to make something travel quick, or punch a hole through and make what we call a wormhole. So God actually rolls up, or the heavens, as it calls, and reveals himself to people in the last time, in the last days, and spreads them like a tent to dwell in. Who brings princes to nothing and makes the rulers of the earth as emptiness? Scarcely they are planted, scarcely grown, scarcely has their stem taken root in the earth when he blows on them and they wither, and the tempest carries them off like stubble. So he's saying, like, even the greatest people of the earth have barely lived their life and then they're gone compared to God. To whom then will you compare me, that I should be like him, says the Holy One? Lift up your eyes on high and see who created these. He who brings out their host by number, calling them all by name. He's referring to the stars. God has a name for every star in the universe. How about that? By the greatness of his might, and because he is strong in power, not one is missing. God doesn't overlook anything, including you, by the way. Why do you say, O Jacob, and speak, O Israel? Again, that Hebrew poetry, Jacob, Israel, the descendants of. My way is hidden from the I am, and my right is disregarded by my God? Have you not known? Have you not heard? The I am is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. He understands. His understanding is unsearchable. God's knowledge, his brain power is infinite, guys. You cannot figure it out. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait for the I am shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that passage, right?
Would we consider that a promise?
That is a promise of those who belong to him. That God is the source of strength. Without him, you have nothing. You're just a weed that dies and blows away. All right. I know that was a lot, but any questions on Isaiah chapter 40? Yeah, there's a lot of songs that include that passage. Oh, I know that. I can tell that's probably one of your favorites, Joanna. That doesn't surprise me at all. Sometimes eagles is vultures, sometimes it's not. It's any large bird. Okay, so like sometimes, like if you read like in Leviticus when it talks about birds, it mentions bats because they didn't categorize animals the same way we do. So birds was any small flying creature, whether it was what we call a bird or not. And so the same thing with large birds. They were all called eagles. The word in the Hebrew is the same for eagles as it is for vultures because it's just a large bird.
It is large bird of prey, a griffin, vulture, or eagle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wider extent bird.
Yeah.
So anything that spreads wider. That word Nasir in Hebrew is used 27 times, and it mainly used as eagle,
Mm-hmm.
but it also was known for vulture and
Right.
griffin vulture.
So if they came across like an albatross, they would have called it the same thing because it was just, hey, that's
It
big
had
bird.
the big wide.
It's just big wide bird. That's a yeah.
Wingspan.
Yep. So that's how they categorized it.
So because like the bigger birds can fly higher and longer, they are more grandiose, I guess.
Mhm.
You know, so like calling you a sparrow or a pigeon or whatever wouldn't be as
That's right.
it
You
wouldn't
shall
have-
mount up with wings like sparrows.
or you shall mount up with wings like a parakeet. Yeah, not impressive, right?
Not impressive at all.
So, but what is impressive is even now, like we will look up and say, "Oh, look, there's an eagle,"
Mhm.
or "Oh, look, see how big that bird is." You know,
Mhm.
like there's that moment of recognition that it is important. It is a bigger, awe-inspiring thing.
Mhm.
So, and I think what to summarize that verse, like if you're waiting on the Lord and He's renewing you, then people are seeing that, and that is more visible. That's more. It's more of a testimony of what the Lord is doing with the person, and then my thought totally left me.
I can tell, yeah. I think you need to do your own live Bible studies.
No,
there.
well, no, I was just summarizing that one because I was thinking about that whole, like, if we're looking, because we look at eagles and then we think, oh, how majestic, but people who wait on the Lord, He's literally saying, people are going to look at us like that and know that that's why, like, and we can't be quiet about why it is that way.
Right.
Okay, you can move on.
So, thank you. So, somebody asked, what did he mean by my way? By way is hidden from the Lord, my right is discarded by my God. So, this passage right here, God is asking them why they say that. So the people are saying, my way is hidden from the Lord, and my right is discarded by my God. What they're saying is that they don't believe that God is paying attention to them, and so.
Tired of that waiting?
Isaiah is basically saying our God is an infinite God. And even though you are nothing, nothing is overlooked by him either. That's why he talks about how all the stars have names. So even though we might feel hidden or disregarded, he's saying that's not the case.
I think we easily forget And what we're seeing is Judah is easily forgetting the God that made the promises to them.
Yep. All right. So let's see here. I think. Yeah. Okay. 41 and 42. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and end it there on chapter 40. And we'll pick up next week. I will have some Bible study times next week. I will post those for you guys so that you are aware. I do post them on Facebook. I also post them in the bulletin board on TikTok. I try to do posts on Instagram and YouTube as well, although those don't come up in your feed very easily. So if you're curious when the next Bible study is, just go through my feed to see if there is a post. I will try to post that for you today, just so you know when the next ones are coming up. All right?
And the after party is coming. It's literally a post. It's not a video.
All right, yeah, let's explain that. So, if you're on TikTok or Instagram, okay, there is something called the after party. And so, let's see here. Where is Sunny? Sunny the puppet. It's a random person outside our window.
Oh.
So if you're following us, if you're not following Sunny the puppet, what she does is a post called the after party. I'm going to see if it's on here from the last time. There's Butter's birthday.
It'll be the same post.
I'm looking.
It'll be the third one. There's 2 of them already posted.
I don't see them.
They're there. They're there.
Oh, that's it right there.
That's it.
Okay. So look for this one right here, either on Instagram or on YouTube, or TikTok. So either Instagram or TikTok. And if you go there, the after party is just simply a discussion in the comments section of, hey, let's talk about what we talked about today. So if you have questions, comments, curiosities, then Sunny will interact with you herself. And that way you can continue about with it, whatever questions you had, and she'll look things up, and she'll end up being smarter than me because she'll look up her answers.
Wow. Like I looked up eagles.
Exactly.
What was that? Nasir,
something like that.
Nasir.
Yeah. All right. So that being said, let me go ahead and pray for all of you.
You got giveaways.
Oh, I do have giveaways. That's right. Okay. So I forgot. If you want free stuff, let me zoom out the videos here. Hold on. So you guys can see. All right. Free stuff. So first off, we have this cool Bible study planner. It's a planner. Yeah, it's kind of girly, but a lot of you are girls, so that works. And so you have encouraging Bible verses that you can write down, sermon notes, which has sermon theme, location, speaker, key, scriptures, main thoughts. But you can also get back into here with this SOAP study. Now, you could do the SOAP on your own, but sometimes it's nice to have it graphed out. So the SOAP stands for Scripture, Observation, Application, and Prayer. And so you write out what the scripture was that you read that day, what observations did you see in it, how can you apply that to your life? What prayer can you pray based off of what you learned? And any other notes. Now, if you really get into SOAP study, eventually that's not going to be enough space. But this is a good introductory, introduction into actually studying the Bible. So if this is something you're interested in, we will mail this to you at our cost. All you have to do is message Sunny.
And we have the men's version.
The men's version.
Someone just mentioned that.
How girly it was, yes.
Yes, so there is a men's version, so it looks more manly.
That's right. It's man soap.
It's not bubbled.
So if you're interested, message Sunny specifically. She's going to handle that. So you can either find her, like I said, on TikTok or on Instagram, either one of those, Sunny the Puppet 8. Yes, her specifically. If you message me, I'm going to tell you to message her anyway, okay?
Who's going to handle all packaging and mailing now?
Well,
That would be me.
you chose to. So then also we have this ESV Study Bible, which, by the way, is that graph of Solomon's temple that I showed you is literally in this book, along with a lot of other really cool graphs and charts and maps and things. It's an amazing Bible. It's only like $20-something on Amazon, but I do give these away for free. So if you are in need of a study Bible, first come, first serve. You let me know, let Sunny know, and then you get that mailed to you at no cost. And congratulations, you'll have a study Bible. But for those of you looking for a study Bible, that's the one I recommend. All right.
The wish list?
Well, suppose we can talk about that. So if you want to participate in our ministry, you can go to my Linktree, which is, there's a link for it on all of the platforms. On the Linktree, first off, you can buy my friend True Christian Ministries book, Life in the Light, if you want to buy it directly from my links. But aside from that, we have our Amazon wish list. So if you want to participate in the ministry, you can go there and it takes you directly to our wish list where you can buy things that either we will use as props or as giveaways, one of the two. So lots of giveaways in there, a few props left to buy, just some things like, hey, that'd be cool. And that's about it. So I got to put the ESV Study Bible back on there. But other than that, that's about it. So let me go ahead and pray for all of you. Daddy, I thank you for this time together. I ask for your blessing upon them in the name of Jesus. Whatever I've said today that's not true, let them just forget it. But whatever I've said that is true, I pray that's all they remember. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside and then you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling, a feeling you know that I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you. You'll have things you'll want to talk about, and I will too. Thank you for joining me, neighbors. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later.